Hello there, vinyl community. So, it's there's no doubt about it. It's winter time, and it's pretty cold here in the Detroit area, Michigan. And whenever it gets like this, I start to, listen to a lot of, I guess, more, um, uh, organic music, country music, for, lack of a better term. I guess it's not really country in the traditional sense of the word. I kind of grew up in an area where, believe it or not, there was, you think Motor City, Detroit, and you think, you know, not a big country music scene around. But the truth is, a lot of people that, migrated from the South into the northern states for auto worker jobs were, that's where a lot of the African American community that came here and brought R&B and soul and which developed eventually into rock and roll and all that history. But there's another history too of white Southerners, coming to the Detroit area. So growing up, a lot of my friends. Parents had either come here, or in some cases their grandparents had come here from the southern states. So country music had this kind of uh, underpinning of the area, and so there was a lot of country music around. I remember when me and a friend first started to discover like music with a little bit more depth besides like Kiss, and there's nothing wrong with Kiss. I don't mean to. I have my own Kiss records, but when we started to look further into music, we started going through his dad's record collection and finding, you know, Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and a lot of other people too who turned us on to that music. At first, we kind of did it. We thought it was a joke, We kind of there's a lot of novelty songs that we listened to and thought it was kind of funny. Be out having a couple beverages and a couple cigarettes and laugh at some of it. And eventually we found the poetry in that music. And so listening to a few records today. Right now I'm listening to this. This is Rose City Band, and this is on Thrill Jockey. Great band. If you're not familiar with Rose City Band, they do this kind of psychedelic country rock that I think on the surface looks pretty. It's psychedelic country music, but I think there's a lot more going on with the Rose City Band if you give it a chance. And they've done 3 or 4 records now. This is my favorite one. Came out during COVID, and I had this on my turntable a lot during those years. But they've got a couple records. I've also got this one, which is really good. This one's a little darker. Some folks might like this better. It's very good. It's hard for me to pick which one would be better. Real good. Again, on Thrill Jockey. Not to be missed, man. If you at all like kind of, Gene Clark and Graham Parson and so-called this moniker that they're using, cosmic Americana or whatever they come up with these terms. Really good, easy to like, and a little more depth there than I think they get credit for sometimes. But always leads me into another great band. A little bit more. They're on that cool label. And this is the Saddies. And this is pretty cool psychedelic country too. A lot of, unfortunately, the leader of this band died last year, yeah. And hopefully the band, I've heard that they're going to continue. If anyone's heard differently, let me know. Fabulous band, man. They've been together for a long time. They've done, this is the last album that they did together, and it's as good as anything that they've ever done. Maybe one of their best albums. Fantastic. Colder Streams. I really think, again, that there's a lot of depth going on here, and I think the band does a real exploration of they're a Canadian band, but I think they do an exploration of the kind of death of the American dream, and kind of what's happening internally inside of a country that just it seems to have a war-driven economy, and what's happening internally to the population and to the ideas that a lot of people grew up with and are now finding aren't really true. And you can almost tell it from the titles. No one's listening. We should be worried. Stop and Start is a great was like the initial track off that. This is a great album. And check out the Saddies. They're good. Here's another. This might be my favorite one right here. I think there's a card here. I'll give somebody wants the code off of this card. You're welcome to have it. I can't get it. Let's see if I can get it to show up. If you can read that, feel free to steal it. Cool cover too. Saddies. Good band. So like one of the a lot of people don't know about this band. I don't hear them talked about very much. Freakwater. Freakwater is a fantastic, very, very raw, very organic band. Janice Bean, the most amazing country vocals that you're likely to hear anywhere. A band that in many ways started off as an offshoot. This is from '92. This isn't their best album, but it's great. And what's so great about this music is the subject matter is so, country music always had this traditional country music always had this kind of reactionary element to it. And Freakwater really turns that on its head and really addresses economic plight of the working class, but not like in a preachy way or in a political way even. In a very organic way of talking about the lives of working class people who've been stripped of economic hope, and in America, economic hope is without that, you're not going to get far. And they address those issues very, very upfront about them, but without being preachy about them. Yeah, Freakwater is a great band. I saw them live once. I took a date, and she didn't know what to expect. It was in a bowling alley, and there's a little corner of the bowling alley where they had the band set up on stage, and there were about 20 obvious Freakwater fans sitting around drinking beers and smoking cigarettes and listening to an amazing set of music. Some of the best performances I've ever heard. Yeah, if you had all like country rock kind of music, Freakwater, man, check them out. Another great album by them is this. Just found this really recently. I didn't even take there's a sticker on it. Anyway, used $3.99 because nobody knows about these guys, and they're really, really great. End Time. They've always got this kind of foreboding, while at the same time musically the music can kind of be uplifting, and then this kind of dark underpinning of lyrics that really, really hit home. Yeah, fantastic record. They're still around. I think they're still releasing material. Some of their records are harder to get than others. Some of them are really tough to get, and some of them are still on. I think this was on... was this still on Thrill Jockey? Yeah, this is still on Thrill Jockey, 1999. Amazing record. Yeah, and then I wanted to show, kind of the beginnings, a lot of that country when like this band happened. And I had, at the time, I had the CD, and then eventually I think Rhino did a Rhino did a re-release of this, and I think it might have gone out of print, and I don't know what the current status of it is, but this was like kind of a real important record and kind of getting me back into that sound that I had, kind of gotten away from. I really got into like electronic music and kind of left some of this behind. Not left it behind, but I moved on. I moved on to other sounds and stuff like that. And this helped me rediscover some of that country rock sound that I loved so much. This is a great record. Of course, this band went on to be Wilco and Sunvolt, and that whole, that's when, the marketplace really discovered, that there was a market out for people who were into these kind of organic sounds. Some of it was good and some of it was not so good. Probably a lot more not good than good, but this is a great record. And then before that record, they had done like 3 or 4 records. This was my favorite among those. And they did get a vinyl reissue. I think these might be tough to find now. But this harkens back to like the 1930s Depression era themes with, or even pre-Depression, Moonshiner, Black Eye, Atomic Power. There's a kind of old school leftism about this record. It reminds me of that, Debs era, the socialist and communist traditions of the American left, which have been, unfortunately erased from the history books over 40 years of Reaganism. But there was a time, and these still are very, very important themes that created the 8-hour workday and 40-hour work week and fair wages and stuff like that. And a lot of those themes are taken up by Uncle Tupelo on this. And then one more record I wanted to mention. I always kind of put. Oh wait, before we do that, let's talk real briefly. I mentioned Wilco, and which Yankee Foxtrot. A lot of people will dig that album, but my favorite Wilco record has always been this one. This came after Yankee Foxtrot. This is the album that has Jim O'Rourke he was the producer. I think he was the producer on this. I should probably know that first, but he was very, very involved with the songwriting and with helping Wilco develop beyond. So he's very involved with the production of Yankee Foxtrot Hotel, which was their kind of breakthrough, and commercially speaking anyway. And then they went on to do this album. It was a bit of a puzzle, I think, for some fans, because they didn't know what to make of it, because the band really moved on, and I think probably with Jim O'Rourke's help. There's a lot of electronic influences here. There's a lot of avant-garde influences here. There's a lot of krautrock influences here, which might be an odd thing to think of when you think of Wilco. You might not think of krautrock. But believe me, when I tell you, listen to some of these tracks, like, right from the beginning, Muzzle of Bees, Handshake Drugs is probably the most traditional Wilco type song. But they really, Theologians, The Late Greats, Less Than You Think, there's lots of Motorik rhythms and sounds that you'll dig on this. If you're not familiar with it, Jim O'Rourke, Wilco, and then moving on to some really adventurous musical territory. Great record, and my favorite Wilco record. And then Sound of Minder was reminding me about some records by Mark Lanegan. And my favorite Mark Lanegan record, which he's got many, many great records. And check out Sound of Minder Station to learn a lot more about that and a lot of other great records too. But this is probably my favorite Mark Lanegan record, even though for some folks, this is a covers record. It's all covers, and I think it really shows the country influences in his solo work, and in a lot of the work that was there, that was lying underneath, in the sense that it's very, very heartfelt, and he truly makes the songs on this record his own. They don't feel or sound like covers of songs that, part of it is the selection of music that he picked from. Very few of these will be familiar to anyone, but it's full of music that really, I think, exposes. I think the man was willing to let down his guard emotionally, even more on this record than on his usual records, and I think that's largely because the cover versions almost allowed for him to reach down even deeper and be even more open about things. Unfortunately, we lost Mark a couple years ago, and I don't think any recent losses, in the music industry has, or at least one of the major ones has been this man. Anyway, check it out for something a little bit more country orientated, folk country orientated, but that's just an amazing record, and yeah, check it out. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. Hope everyone's doing well, and we'll see you later. Thanks.